How did I meet my guide? I actually met him because I was in a wheelchair. I was in Alaska. I was working for a hospital up there, and I was hit by a car in the crosswalk. Someone had stopped for me, and the woman who hit me was on her phone. She went around the car that had stopped for me and hit me in the middle of the road. I became a projectile. I did not lose consciousness. I was awake the entire time. I remember feeling like I'd slipped on the ice, but I was moving impossibly fast. When I hit the ground, I couldn't see or hear anything, and I knew I was dying. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I was dying. I knew I'd broken my back. I knew I had a lot of internal injuries to my organs, and I knew I was going to die. I just crossed that road the day before, holding the hand of each of my kids, and I remember feeling so grateful that they weren't with me that day. The instant I was okay with the fact that I was dying, I knew I wasn't going to die. And just like that, everything turned back on. The sound, I could hear the cars that were stopped around me. I was blocking traffic on a busy after work commute time. I could feel the cold, the rain. My face was in a puddle, and I could feel the pain. They took me the short drive to the hospital, where I was told that I would be on a flight for life plane down to Seattle pretty shortly, because that was the closest hospital, that my injuries were too extensive for them to help me there. I had so much blood in my abdominal cavity that they didn't think I was going to live the flight. They did a CAT scan and an MRI while we were waiting for the plane, and there was no internal organ damage. I had a lot of broken bones, but there was nothing that was immediately operable, so they canceled Flight for Life. But they did bring my children in to say goodbye to me because they thought I was going to die then. I remember telling them, these are people I worked with, telling them, why are you crying? Why are you upset? I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be fine. They ended up putting me upstairs in a room. I was medically sedated for a few days while they let things settle to try to determine the extent of my injuries. And it was found that while I'd broken a lot of bones, I actually was okay otherwise and healthy up to that point. So I ended up being in the hospital. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. And then I was in a wheelchair for 3 months after that, so a total of about 4 months. During that time, for the first time ever, I had recently been divorced, I was sitting still. Hadn't sat still years. One day I was sitting in my wheelchair, the kids were off at school, and I could sense a man standing behind me. I'd sensed the dead. Obviously, if you've been around, you know my extensive history of being afraid of dead people up to that point. And the house was haunted, but the man that lived upstairs, angry man, rarely came downstairs. So at first I thought it was him, but I didn't understand why he was standing behind me. And I kind of turned to look, and I saw the full form of who I now know to be my guide. And he just looked at me and said, do you know what you are? No. And his next question is, are you tired of being afraid? After the scary things that had happened to me when I was in college, the terrifying entities and the man in the hat that was still to that day walking through the walls of my house at night, I was really tired of being afraid. So he said the word shaman. I'd never really heard that word outside of some movie or something reference at some point. And I asked him if I could take a day or two to think about it. He said yes, and I thought about it a lot. And a couple of days later, he showed back up, and I said, what happens if I say no? And he said, nothing. Your life will go on exactly the way it is. What happens if I say yes? He said, everything will change. So I said yes, and everything changed. I was still in the wheelchair for a few months, but starting that instant that I said yes, began this really fascinating, and for me as a skeptic, very important training opportunity where every single day, all of the time, I saw him with me as if he were a companion, as if he were a fully formed, fully alive human being right next to me all the time. He would tell me something before it happened, and it would happen exactly the way he said it would happen. He would interpret for the dead, and with messages that I would have to give other people that were always right. I'd be driving down a road, and he would say, there was an accident there last week. pull over at that store and ask. He would tell me the details of the accident, and I would be able to confirm what he was telling me with a living person. This went on for 18 months. During that time, I was told, nope, don't read books, don't learn, don't research anything about shamanism, nothing about it. After that 18 months of intense interaction one-on-one, it made me confident that anything that came out of his mouth was the truth. Things I had no way of knowing, which is why I say that Melissa, I don't have any ability. I'm just the mouth. I'm just the interpreter. I'm the one who's giving the message that maybe somebody else can't hear. That's the only thing that makes me different than you. That's it. We're exactly the same people. I just speak a different language, but I'm nothing special. I'm just an average human, just like everybody else. But I stopped being afraid the day that he showed up. And now I have the honor of getting to help other people not be afraid. Nobody should live in fear of things that only you can see or that only your children can see. I can't tell you how many conversations people have with me that start with, this sounds crazy, or you're going to think I'm nuts. I'm not. I've been there. I've been there for years, and I was terrified, and I didn't sleep, and I suffered because I didn't know anybody who could help me get rid of the things that I was seeing. And now I get to be that for other people. So probably had my guide with me my whole life. I just didn't know who it was, and I wasn't in a place that I could hear him until after my accident. So while I still deal with a lot because of that accident, mainly a lot of the work that I have to do requires me to get out of my body, and when I'm in a lot of physical pain, I can't do that. So sometimes my work is limited by how my body's feeling. But I've gained so much more from my accident than I ever lost from it. And sometimes we have to be open to however those lessons present themselves. You never know what's going to come out of something that most people would consider bad.